Welcome to Mr. R's art class. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thumbs, subs, and ring that bell. Okay, so we're going to have three different measurements for our color wheel. So the first measurement is going to be at a 1 inch. So you're going to need to find the big line next to the number 1. And it's going to be the big line to the right of number 1. That triangle on your compass needs to be pointing to that big line next to number 1 for your first mark. Your second mark is going to be at 2 inches. So you need to find the big line to the right of the number 2. And that's going to be your 2-inch mark. Then your last ring is going to be 3.5 inches. So you need to find that medium-sized line between the 3-inch mark and the 4-inch mark, and that's going to be 3.5 inches right there. So making sure that the triangle on your compass is pointing to that medium-sized mark there. So you have a small line, then the big line, but your triangle should be pointing towards that medium-sized line past the 3-inch line right there. So in this video I'm going to show you how to make a color wheel. You're going to need a compass, a pencil, and a blank sheet of paper. For the color wheel, we're going to learn how to make different tints and shades of the same color. So when you have a tint, you're adding white to it, and when you have a shade, you're adding black to the same color. So you have these pure colors here in the middle. You have the pure colors. So in this one, for example, you have just yellow, but you're adding white to it, so you're making a tint. And then you have just a regular yellow, and you're adding black to it, and you're making a shade. But first, we're going to go ahead and draw this up with a compass and a blank sheet. First, you're going to go ahead and fold your piece of paper long way and short way. And this is going to help you find the center of your paper. Where your center of the paper is where you're going to put the needle of your compass. So again, you're folding your paper long way and short way. And this is just kind of the quickest way possible to help you find the center point of your paper. And at the center point where these lines intersect, you have your vertical line and your horizontal line. That's where you're going to put the needle of your compass. So again, you're making sure that the triangle, a little triangle on your compass, is pointing to the 1 inch. You're going to go ahead and place your needle on the center of your paper, and you're going to go ahead and rotate your paper. And so kind of notice how I'm using the compass. I'm holding the pencil. My compass is not straight up and down, it's at an angle. Alright, so I'm going to try to make these lines as dark as possible that you can see it here. And I'm rotating my paper. Alright. Go one more way around, there we go. And then your second measurement is going to be at 2 inches. So it's going to be the big line to the right of the number 2, the big line to the right of number 2. And I'm going to do the same exact thing. The needle is going to be in the middle of my piece of paper. My compass is not going to be straight up and down. It's going to be at an angle. And I'm going to rotate my paper. And I'm making my lines a little bit darker just so you can see it here on the camera. You don't have to make your lines this dark. I just want you to be able to see. So rotating my paper, compass is not straight up and down, and I'm holding the pencil with my thumb and my index finger on the back side here. So last measurement is going to be a 3.5. So you're going to pass the 3-inch mark. You're going to pass that big line after number 3, and it's going to be that medium-sized mark. You're going to pass a really small mark. You're going to pass a really small mark, and then you're going to have a medium-sized mark just before the number 4. And I'm going to put the needle on the middle of my piece of paper. And again, my compass is at an angle. And I'm rotating the paper. Go one more way around. You don't want to press too hard on the pencil part of the compass, otherwise your compass is either going to start opening or your compass is going to start closing. Alright, maybe go one more way around just so you guys could see it here on the camera. Make my lines a little bit darker than what you actually need. And there we go. And so what you're going to need now is a ruler and a pencil, and basically we're going to kind of turn this color wheel into a clock first. So right where you have this fold here on the top, you're going to put the number 12 just like a clock. just like a clock. And then you have this other fold here that goes horizontally from left to right. You're going to write the number 3, just like a clock down here, just like a clock. The number 6, all the way over here. What do we have? It's a number 9. Then what you're going to do is you're going to evenly space out the numbers that are between 12 and 3 on a clock. So on a clock, the number that comes after 12 is the number 1. Right, and we're going to evenly space out these numbers. So what you could do is you could grab your fingers, you can measure that gap. Right, you can measure that gap between the number 12 and the number 1. And to duplicate it, you're going to put 2 right there. So you're saving the same space, so you don't have to kind of measure it every single time. You're taking that same gap. And so after the number 3, you have the number 4. After number 4, you have the number 5. You already have the number 6 there. And then so you're going to keep going all the way around, just like that. So I'm keeping my fingers like this so I have that same space, that same gap saved. Number 9, and then the number 10, and then the number 11. Just like a clock. Okay, so between those numbers, what you're going to do now is you're going to make a mark between those numbers. So you're going to evenly space out this mark as well. Evenly space out this mark between the numbers. You're going to find the space between each number and you're going to put a mark. Okay, and then we're going to connect these marks that are across from each other. You're going to connect these marks that are across from each other. So I'm looking up here between the 12 and the 1. I have this mark here. Then I'm looking right across at between 6 and 7. And I'm going to connect those marks with a ruler. And you're going to try to pass through the center point here. So I'm trying to find those marks. Trying to get as close as possible. If those marks don't line up, you could try to just pass through that center mark as best as possible. So these marks are a little bit off. That's okay. So I'll probably rotate my ruler just a little bit. But what's most important is you trying to just go through that center point there. So that mark was a little bit off. That's okay. So trying to find and trying to connect these next marks here. And that one passes through a little bit better. And if those marks don't line up perfectly, that's fine. Just try to get as close as possible. Right? But you want to try to pass through that center point. So between the 2 and 3, between the 2 and the 3, and the 8 and the 9. Again, what's most important is that you're passing through that center point. Right over here. You go all the way around, but you want to get as close as possible to that center point. And again, I'm drawing my lines a lot darker than the way that you should be drawing yours, just so that you can see it here on the camera. Alright, there you go. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to label each number. So I'm going to go grab my other color wheel. And I'm going to have yellow on top. Yellow on top. So number 12 is going to be yellow. So I'm going to put the letter Y. Then number 1 is going to be YG for yellow green. Number 2 is going to be G. Number 3 is going to be B and G for blue green. 4 is going to be blue. 5 is going to be B and V for blue violet. Number 6 down here at the bottom is going to be V for just violet. 7 is going to be RV for red violet. Number 8, just red. 9 is going to be RO for red orange. Number 10 is just going to be regular orange. And 11 is going to be YO for yellow orange. So let me show you how we're going to color this in. Again, I was telling you previously that we're going to have just our regular colors here in the middle, and looking at Y, for example, or 12, for example, we have the regular yellow here in the middle. Then I'm adding black to the yellow, the regular yellow, and I'm getting this shade here. Then I'm adding white to that regular yellow, and I'm getting this tint up here. Okay, so we're going to do the same exact thing over here. We have number 12. We know that this is going to be regular yellow. We're going to add white to it. We're going to get a tint and then a shade when we add black to that. So I'll show you how to mix it up. So if you need a board to paint on top of, you could go ahead and grab that. You could grab a board. You can also grab a cup halfway filled with water and a paper towel and maybe 2 different size brushes. So 2 different size brushes, maybe a medium sized brush and a really small brush, half cup of water, and then also a paper towel. With the paint tray, I'm going to start with just 2 colors here for now, 2 colors and also black and white. So these 2 colors, the reason why I chose them, because if you look at your color wheel, so I have yellow up here, and then I have red over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with yellow, but I'm going to start doing these other values that are in between as well. So if you look at your original color wheel or your reference, I have yellow up here and I have red over here. But if I add those 2 colors together, I'm going to get this orange. So this kind of tells you, this color wheel or your reference is going to tell you which colors you need to mix to get the color next to it. So again, I have yellow here, I have red over here, and I mix those 2 together and I get orange. Then if I have orange and I have my regular yellow and I mix those 2 together, I'm going to get my yellow orange. So you're going to keep repeating that same process all the way around, but once you make these other colors, you're also going to add white to them and you're also going to add black to them. Okay, so again, that's why I'm starting out with just 2 colors. That's why I'm just starting out with yellow and red, and then you're going to need your tint and your shade, so that's why I have the white and the black. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and start adding yellow to this middle value here, or hue. So every time we talk about a color, each color is called a hue, H-U-E, and I'm going to paint in the yellow hue. And again, regular colors here in the middle. If you need to rotate your paper, you could do that. So regular hues here in the middle. And I'll probably just do a few of these just to give you a good idea of how this is going to end up and how you would do this process. So I have yellow, just regular yellow here in the middle, almost all done. Using a small brush. Alright, so you have your regular yellow there. And I'm going to probably split this maybe a few different ways. So I'm going to get a little bit yellow there. I'm going to split this 3 ways here. Okay. And then I'm also probably going to add a little bit of yellow down here. I don't need too much. And you're going to see why. This is going to be this yellow that I'm putting down here is going to be for my shade. So I'm going to be adding a little bit of black into that yellow down there. And I split this 3 ways so that I could use that same yellow for some of these reds that I'm going to be adding to it. So that's why I split that yellow into 3 different or 4 different ways actually. So I'm going to go ahead and add maybe some water to that black, and I'm just trying to thin it out a bit, adding some more water just to thin that black out a bit. Maybe just a little bit more water. And I'm not trying to contaminate any of these colors in terms of the black and the white. So mix that all up, washing it off. And so what I'm going to do now, try to get all that black off. So I'm going to get just a little bit of black on the edge of my brush, just a little bit there. I'm going to add it to that yellow that I threw in the middle. And this is going to make your shade. Right, and the only reason why I put a little bit of yellow there is because where this is going to go, it's not going to take up a whole lot of space. So just going to use this little triangle here. Right, so some people feel like it goes a little bit green just because I added black, but I'm just adding a little bit of black and it creates that different shade to it. So I'm going to wash off my brush. Wash off my brush. And you could even probably do the same thing to the white. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow here in the middle. Wash off my brush so I don't contaminate the white paint. Get a little bit of white. I'm going to get a little bit more white than the black there. But you don't need a whole lot of paint to start out with. And this is going to be lighter than that regular yellow there in the middle. For some of these outer parts, if you want to use the medium-sized brush, you could do that. Feel free to rotate the paper if you have to. If you need to thin out this tint a little bit more, you can add a little bit of water. Rotate your paper if you have to. Okay. So there's the yellow. That whole yellow part's done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on some of this red here. Go against the bottom of the cup, the sides of the cup, try to get all that extra paint off because we're starting a whole new hue. Remember, each different color that we use is a different hue. If your wire starts getting dirty, go ahead and start changing that out. So I'm going to mix up this red here in case it's been sitting for a while. Go against the edges of these trays to kind of get some of that extra paint off. So regular red is going to be right here. Painting just the middle part, just regular red. Rotate your paper. Careful with all the other hues, values, and tints that you already painted though, in case it's still wet. So I have the regular red. I'm going to split this. I guess we could have to split this 3 ways. And the reason why I'm splitting is that not only am I going to add just white and black to these, is that I'm also going to be adding some yellow to this to make the red orange, the orange, and then the yellow orange that's down here. So one of these is going to be for the orange. Okay, so I think that's enough. Could add some red down here for the black. Maybe some red down here for the white. Wash off the brush. Okay, so let's do the black first, and you don't need too much. So just the very bottom part of the brush. Try to mix up all that black. You shouldn't see any black swirls inside there or black lines. Go against the edge of the tray to get any of that extra paint or water off. And then the darker colors are here in the middle. So you can see just that small amount of black made a big difference here. Okay, so there's that one. Wash your tray off, wash your brush off. Go against the bottom of the cup, side of the cup, edge of the cup. Add a little bit more white. It's going to take a little bit more white here to see a difference. And okay, so you have the tints here on the outside. If you rotate your paper, rotate your paper. If you add a little bit of water to this to thin it out. To kind of control it a little bit better, you could do that. It starts to look a little bit pinkier on the red just because we're adding white to it. Alright, so we're doing this color. We're doing this color wheel just so you know how to make different colors. So you can make your own custom colors. And maybe clean up this outer edge here. There we go. So now we're going to add the red and the yellow. We're going to make this orange here in the middle. So again, that's why we split up these reds here and the yellows. And let's see, I'll probably just scoop all this yellow and take it to this red here. You want to add an even amount. That's why I was kind of looking to see which red had the same amount of yellow that I had. Because if you add too much of one color, then it's going to either look more red or it's going to look more yellow. So we're just making a regular orange here. And then this is going to be for number 10. Regular colors here in the middle. Regular colors here in the middle. Alright, so that's how you make orange. And I think you get the idea of how to make a darker color and a lighter color. But what I'm going to show you how to do is, so you have orange and you have yellow. So how do you make a yellow orange? You just go ahead and add more yellow to the orange. So how did you make orange to begin with? You already had red, you already had orange, right? So in order to make yellow orange, we're going in this direction. So now you need to add more yellow to the orange that already has yellow in it. So it's going to look more yellow than it does red. So I'm going to grab some of this orange here, put it in this one, wash your tray off, wash your brush off, clean your brush. Again, so we're going to do this one here. So we already have orange, right? So how did you make orange? It has red, it has yellow. And so in order to make yellow orange, we need to add more yellow to the orange. So I'm going to grab some yellow here that we split earlier. So again, this is why we split the colors. If you need to grab more yellow, you could do that. Just so you could tell the difference or see the difference. And you'll be able to tell the difference once I put these two colors side by side. Right, so it looks a little bit more yellow than it originally did. And so again, we're doing these color wheels just so you know how to mix colors, you know how to make different tints, different shades, you know how to make custom colors here. So if you're ever trying to figure out how do I make pink, how do I make different blues, this color wheel is going to come in handy. There you go. Alright, so you're going to keep doing the same process throughout this whole color wheel. You're going to be mixing these different colors. So when you have red, when you have yellow, when you get to blue, when you have blue, try splitting those just so you could use some of those same splits of those colors to make more colors. Right, and then don't forget that you have the darker colors here in the middle. You have these lighter colors here on the outside. And again, the reason why we're doing this is so that you know how to make your own colors, your own custom colors, and so that you are able to figure out how do you make the colors that you want to do when you're working on a project. Okay, so if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And feel free to watch any of the other related videos.